Hello, my name is Enoch Maker. I'm a mathematics, physics, and chemistry tutor with over 5 years of working experience in both offline and online. Today, we shall be looking at Introduction to Quadratic Equation. First of all, the definition of quadratic equation. A quadratic equation is an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we can also have it as a y square plus by then plus c will be equal to 0. So we can have it as ax squared plus bx plus c to be equal to 0, or ay squared plus by plus c to be equal to 0, where a, b, c are constants and then a it's not equal to 0. That means in this quadratic equation, the value of a here cannot be 0. Once a is 0, then it means it's no longer a quadratic, because when you multiply this 0 by x squared, it becomes what? 0. Good. So another example of quadratic equation is x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Methods to solving quadratic equation. We have about 4 methods of solving quadratic equations. The first is what I call the factorization method. The second is the completing the square method. The third is the quadratic formula method, and then the fourth is the graphical method. Now, for the purposes of this class, we shall be looking at the factorization methods. We have example problem 1. Solve x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now, when you are given a question, the first thing to do is to check, is it really a quadratic problem? So can you tell me now, based on this problem, is it a quadratic, and why do you say yes, it's a quadratic? If it is yes, why? If it is no, why? Yeah, that's good. Yes, it's a quadratic, because the highest power of x here is 2, and when it's power 2, then it makes it a quadratic. That's good. Love that. Now let's move to the next step. The next step is to look for two numbers that multiply to give plus 6. Now this is the constant. This plus 6 here is the constant, and it's referred to as constant because it has no x attached to it. And then add up to plus 5, the coefficient of x. Now the coefficient of x here is plus 5. So we are looking for two numbers. One, when you add it, you give plus 5. When you multiply, you give plus 6. Those same two numbers. So if we check now, what are those two numbers, do you think? Yeah, that's good. That's correct. The two numbers are plus 2 and plus 3, or 2 and 3. When you add 2 and 3, you have 5. When you multiply 2 and 3, you have 6. That is 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. And then 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Exactly. So the next thing to do is to enclose each of them with s in the bracket. That is, we have the unknown x plus this 2, then second bracket x plus this 3 to be equal to 0. So that means the factors of x squared plus 5x plus 6 are x plus 2 and then x plus 3. So the next step is to apply the zero product property. Now, product property states that if you have, for instance, like brackets x plus a, then brackets x plus b plus bracket to be equal to 0. To be equal to 0. Now, if it is equal to 0, if it is equals to 0, then it means it's either x plus a it equals to 0 or x plus b it equals to 0. That is according to zero product property. Now, the next thing to do is, that means x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 3 is equal to 0. To collect like terms, this is plus 2 when it crosses the other side to the right hand side to become minus. That means we have 0 minus 2 and 0 minus 2 will give us minus 2. This plus 3 when it crosses the other side becomes minus 3. That means 0 minus 3 will give us minus 3. So that means our values of x are minus 2 and minus 3. So any question before we proceed? Any question? Is there any problem? Any explanation you need me to do further? Okay, since there is none, let's move to the next step. The next step is the classwork and this class activity. You have two questions here. The first is, what does the highest power of x tell us about the equation? What does the highest power of x tell us about the equation? Yes, that's good. That's good. The highest power of x tells us whether it is quadratic or it is not quadratic. If it is power 2, then it's quadratic. If it is more than power 2 or less than power 2, then it is not quadratic. And then the numbers, the power also indicates the solutions. Okay, if you have power 2, it means you have 2 answers. Likewise, if you have power 3, you have 3 answers. So for quadratic, you always have what? 2 different answers. Now, the second classwork or question you have here is, can you think of other pairs of numbers that multiply to 6 and add up to 5? Yes. There is none. That's correct. There is no any other number that when you any other two pairs of number aside of 2 and 3 that when multiply it will give 6 and when added will give 5. No. So that is it. Now today we'll learn what a quadratic equation is and solve one example using factorization. Remember, the key idea is to find two numbers that multiply to the constant and add up to the middle coefficient. I have a practice question for you. You have to solve x squared plus 7x plus 10 is equals to 0 using factorization methods. And please endeavor to practice this before our next class. Please. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.